with the topic of the day, right? A lot of fans that are non-Bengals fans. So let me preface it by saying that a lot of non-Bengals fans are saying Joe Burrow is overrated. A lot of non-Bengals fans are saying that Joe Burrow is the most overrated quarterback in the league. I have my thoughts on it. I definitely have my thoughts on it. I want to hear what Lolo's thoughts are on it first. So, Logan, we're gonna let you kick this one off.
Yeah, I feel like all of our thoughts here are probably pretty aligned, if I had to say so. I mean, but I think that that thought with Joe Burrow being overrated comes from just his, I think consistency. Like he does everything just to the point. He doesn't do the flashy things all the time. He's very just okay. We're gonna throw this pass. We're gonna pick up 5 yards. Okay, then I'm gonna throw this one. We're gonna pick up 7 yards. He's very methodical. He's very smart. He kind of dissects the game in more of an old school, I guess, typically like boring kind of way to a lot of people. So like when we do see his, his fun, his scrambling, his doing these things, people, oh, he's lucky. It's just kind of comes from all that stuff. But I mean, when you really truly sit and like break down a lot of, the analytics, the statistics, just everything about Joe Burrow's game, it just like it's extremely, 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 extremely difficult to even come away with the thought of him being overrated. I mean, I know he's very, very early into his NFL career, but he's had immense success already. He's, again, very early, but he's the all-time, completion percentage leader in the NFL. Very early, I know. But the way he plays, the methodical kind of play style he has is, something that can last for a long, long, long time. When you look at these guys, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, yeah, they're very, very, very good quarterbacks, but you know, sadly, the truth is injury can kind of derail their careers a little easier than a guy who has all of the, the football IQ and the mental processing and just the ability to sit back there and pick defenses apart to where, some of the other quarterbacks in the league kind of rely on that athleticism. And I think just the fact that Joe Burrow is playing in today's game, I think it kind of hurts him a little bit from kind of, I guess, the more casual stance. But again, once you really dive into things and look at the numbers and look at just look at the numbers and it's kind of hard and it's almost impossible to walk away thinking with the fact that Joe Burrow is overrated.
I agree with you, man. I think it's very, very hard for people to say that Joe Burrow is overrated. And if you do say that, you probably sound a little bit like a hater. That being said, I give my opinion to a degree. Logan gave his opinion. It's time to hear the always, kind spoken, lighthearted Evan give his take on this whole thing.
So, look, man, just even looking at this objectively, right? You can hate Joe Burrow if you want to, the same way you can hate Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, but at the same time, you have to be willing to accept what they've accomplished and what especially Joe Burrow has accomplished in a short amount of time. And I know everybody likes to talk about hardware, but everybody also likes to talk, especially when it comes to conversations like Justin Herbert or Josh Allen, playoff wins. Are they getting you over the hump? Are they taking care of things? And I hate using quarterback wins, and there's a million reasons that we should not use quarterback wins as a barometer for success for quarterbacks. But you want to talk about, are they in the playoffs and are they winning games? Are they showing up in the biggest moments? Joe Burrow is currently fourth among active QBs in playoff wins. So he's already done that in just 2 years because he got injured the first season. So, I mean, who's to say he wouldn't have done that too? And I mean, to come in with everything against you we know how difficult it's been in Cincinnati, just getting over the hump in those playoffs, not just getting there, but winning a game. And he came in and just really did it with putrid offensive lines. And the first year was kind of, the first year of that putrid offensive line in the playoffs was kind of like, hey, this is built poorly. The second year there was severe injury, right? But just looking even at Joe Burrow's numbers from these first two seasons, just to give you evidence for why he is a top 3, top 4 elite tier quarterback in the NFL. Just starting off basic numbers, 91.8 PFF grade and 92.0 PFF grade. Those both ranked first and tied for first in the last 2 seasons. Whether or not you agree with PFF, you have to have a lot of good plays to get up there, whether you think he should be first, fifth,
Wait, but
whatever.
Evan, PFF only says good things about Joe Burrow because they're also based in Cincinnati.
The guy who started the company. Shout out to Neil Hornsby. Hope you're doing well, Neil. He's from Britain. Like, They moved here because Chris Collinsworth wanted the sharing. That's beside the point. Anyways, Chris Collinsworth is not doing the grading, folks. All right. They've got former NFL quarterbacks, scouts. Gosh, who did they have? Bruce Gradkowski was there watching every single quarterback play, every single week, every single throw, verifying these grades. You had former NFL quarterback Zach Robinson, who I was very fortunate to work with, now working as the passing game coordinator for the Rams, was up for the offensive coordinator position for the Chargers. These are the guys watching these plays every single week, verifying these grades with these quarterbacks. So if you disagree, like they have been there, they have done it, they have played this game and studied it at the highest level and are still doing that, analyzing or coaching. So just sorry, you got me off on the PFF tangent there. Anyways, looking away from PFF grades, which you might say are subjective. Okay, let's go with more, just a little bit less subjective, right? Was that a turnover worthy play? Was that a big time throw on 3rd and 6 through tight window, whatever else? Okay. For Joe Burrow, only 2.1% of his plays were deemed turnover worthy in both this year and last year. So he is avoiding making mistakes despite having these offensive line issues, despite having this offense kind of reshape in the middle of the season last year. And for him to really just also, I know a lot's been made about the sack rate where he just stopped taking sacks. His pressure to sack rate almost cut in half, like between the first half of the season versus the last half. Weird to do in just the middle of the season to decide you're just not taking sacks. So now he's just not taking sacks. He's not turning the ball over. Okay, well, is he still he didn't have all the deep shots, right? He didn't have all the deep shots to Jamar Chase. He didn't have all the deep balls. What are you talking about? So he must have just, been playing it safe with the ball. No, he was 7th in big time throw percentage in 2021, but he was 5th last year. And the reason is because he was making bigger plays at a higher rate. And that is especially true of the intermediate, because all those deep balls that you missed turned into 3 times as many of the intermediate balls that were beautiful cover 3 hole shots, tight window throws over the middle between safeties and linebackers, just stuff that really didn't even deserve to be completed in some cases. You want to talk about the fact that he's the NFL's all-time leader in completion percentage right now in terms of that accuracy. So now you've got he's avoided sacks, he's avoiding turnover worthy plays, he's making the big time throws, and he's also incredibly accurate, not just in completing the pass, but also where he puts the ball on a receiver to help them get the most yards after catch, or better yet, to protect that receiver from a defender who's coming in to either hit that receiver or jostle that ball loose. It's all these little minute details that Joe Burrow does that put him in that elite tier. And he just does it in the intermediate, the deep throws, 95.8 PFF grade on intermediate and deep throws in 21, 22, 95.9 on deep throws, 92.5 on intermediate. And he increased his short area from 84.1 PFF grade in 2021 to 90 last year. So that was really, we saw with having to understand to take those short check downs, to understand when to hit that shorter throw and to give up on that deep play and take what the defense is giving you. He really elevated in that way. And I'll tell you another way he elevated. 25 rush attempts in 2021 compared to 55 in 2022. It's a function of obviously coming off the injury, getting more comfortable, him seeing the game, when to scramble, and also the team feeling comfortable using him on those short yardage QB sneaks, which he has done wonderfully at, right? In those 55 rush attempts last year, he also had 12 plays of 10 plus yards. If he continues to elevate that part of his game, even just a little bit, where he's scrambling at the right times, if they just call that QB read or QB draw at the right time, even if it's him calling his own number, I think that's a way that he can really elevate, because we know scrambles for quarterbacks yield some of the highest success rates, the highest EPA. And part of that is obviously a function of, more yards to go, higher leverage situations, but still it's worth saying that Joe Burrow improved his game in the short area, in taking sacks, yet maintained his ability to make big plays and limit turnover worthy plays. And that's what we've praised Aaron Rodgers for years. That's what we've praised Tom Brady for. These are the same kind of numbers, different faces, right? And this is not to say he has the arm that those guys do, but he has the anticipation and he's able to get that ball out. When you're hitting your back foot drop, some of the guys are just lasering them in there. They see and they throw. He's throwing people open. The ball is out before receivers are out of their break. He is just so in timing and rhythm on everything. It is a lot like watching Peyton Manning when he drops back and just his ability. He's letting go with the ball before he knows where they're going to be. It's crazy, man. It is. I'm sorry to go off on such a tangent like that, but no, it really had to be said, man. The case had to be laid out.
No, you didn't go off on a tangent. I was listening to you. Trust me. I definitely think that Joe Burrow and people calling him Joe Overrated and all that kind of stuff that you see the trolls put out there, that's a little bit blown out of proportion. I think people see Joe Burrow make the smart read, whether it be checking the ball down to his receivers or running backs, and you don't necessarily have to go over the top and stuff like that in order to get the job done. I think that's why you see some of the people say he's overrated, because they don't see a lot of the flash plays you may see with the Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, so on and so forth, Lamar Jackson. I mean, listen, you don't have to be overrated just because you don't put the ball in your hands at all times. Sometimes, making the right decision to the right receiver, the right check down is the best course of action to go about it. So that's my thought process on it.